Superman and Lois, episode 14 of the second season. We're doing 15 episodes again. It's the penultimate episode of this season. I hope it's not canceled. I know they announced a season 3, but with all the shakeups currently happening, I wouldn't be surprised if this one slipped and fell through everyone's radar and they just said, axe it, we're not getting our budget back in our time. It would suck if that happened because we'd be losing something very special that we're probably never going to see again on television, so I hope that's not the case. That being said, though, you never know. Penultimate episode. This is the one where most things have to happen. We do set up a big finale, but we also have a lot of great moments in here. This one, you really felt the weight of the world finally catching up to everything going on, and it works really well. I really enjoyed this episode. I love how this episode handles Superman. It's very impressive because end of last episode, Clark is drained of his powers and he's just presumably human. So when he starts to kind of like slowly rebuild himself back up, he realizes he can't do anything to help anybody. And the entire world is telling him to give himself a break. Like, don't worry about everything you can't fix. You've done enough. And even Sam's like, if you made one mistake in the field, it was probably saving my life. But Clark is just easy to say, no life is worth that sacrifice. And I'm like, dude, that's Superman to a T. I love this idea that Clark can't handle not being able to save everybody. He's just so in tune to the idea that he can do it, that when he can't, it breaks him. I think that's such a brilliant idea to explore on television, because people need to know that message. Superman's not bitter that he doesn't have his powers. He's not going to grow angry. He's just upset in himself that he can't do more to help people. And then he gets a great moment towards the end of the episode where he actually does help people. And I know there's been some criticisms and some people talking that maybe we focus too much on Lana in this later half, but I'm here to tell you, it's set in Smallville. She's the most famous Smallvillian we still got left alive. Do something with her. Like the fact that we can age up these characters and have Lana actually be a character that matters, I'm all for it. She's the mayor now, and she kind of has to deal with the fact that there's a big cube in the sky headed towards them. We're doing it. We're merging the worlds. And yes, the episode does end with the merger of worlds, but we'll get to that in a bit here. They're about to merge, and the entire town is like, well, this is not new, and I don't like that. And I think one missed opportunity about this episode is that they didn't spend enough time focusing on the rest of the world's reaction to this, because come on, Smallville's one place. If the entire world saw a giant cube headed towards the planet, they'd react. I think we should have seen more of a real world effect, but hey, whatever. That's okay. So Lana's like, let's hold a town hall and discuss what's happening. She gets filled in on the actual details from Chrissy and Lois because, yes, Chrissy knows what's going on now. She doesn't know Clark is Superman, but she's aware of everything else going on. They put the ideas into Lana's hands. Like, do you want to tell the whole world what's going on here or just tell Smallville? They really play up the fact that Smallville is the only place that knows the truth, which I guess it makes sense because the DOD is active in there and they do have history connected to the big stuff going on in space. I guess that makes sense. It's very interesting how much of Smallville is being played out for here. And I guess because we have these actors on rotation and we can just put them on the call sheet and say, hey, come in, do your line in the big gym setting. You could do that, and I'm sure it makes sense. But it's just kind of weird that we don't see the ramifications across the world about what's going on here. And this is where this great moment comes in with Clark, where he's like, I can't save the world right now. I'm broken. It's got to be up to Sam and Jordan and the Steels, which we'll get to the Steels in a bit here. And he realizes, I can't help Lana. So when everybody in the town is just trying to like freak out, like, this is dumb, this is a hoax, there's no way that is a ship or a big planet from another dimension with identical copies of us, and they're merging in, that's dumb, you're dumb, maybe you're not fit to be a leader. But Kyle's like, y'all shut up. My wife knows what she's doing. Once again, Kyle is one of the best characters on this show, and I will defend him forever because he made a mistake. He owned up to it. He even confessed to Lana, like, I didn't say it when I needed to, and that was the problem. And I'm like, yes, that's true, dude. You're doing right by yourself and your wife and your children by admitting all these things. You're on the right track. You are a fun character who's actually learning a lesson. I like that. But as the town is chewing out Lana for something stupid, the old Gene Hackman-looking ex-mayor is just like, well, I think we need some good old-fashioned family values in here. But who comes in to save the day? Superman. And he's like, yo, your mayor's right. Everything she's saying is right. You should listen to what she has to say. A beautiful moment, just a nice little wink towards Lana, which really sold it for everything. Just fun. Because look, he's still a figure. You still see the emblem and the cape. You know who you're talking to. You know who you're dealing with. And they treat that with such respect because Superman's not about the powers. If he didn't have the powers, Clark Kent would still presumably be in the same position he is in now. I think that's a really fun area to explore, and they're actually doing something very creative with it. I like to see that. So I think for the most part, the CGI for the steel suits has been good. This episode, there was a really janky moment where you see the suit wrap around John Henry where it looked pretty bad. But the idea is they're going to go study the big planet. They get a signature on it. Like, if this thing actually comes into the contact, it's end of everything. It's bad. It's destructive. Nothing is going to be walking away from this implosion. We're doomed. And essentially, if it even comes into contact, we're going to merge with ourselves, man. That's not going to feel good. It's literally just like killing two people and rebuilding another one. Essentially killing twice as many people as you would just by rebuilding. I'm like, whoa, okay. A lot of stakes there. And Superman can't do anything to stop that. Can anybody do anything to stop that? Maybe. Because we have an idea in play. Maybe if we go just beat the shit out of Allie, who is in between the spaces, dragging them together, we can do something to stop it. So that's what John Henry goes to do. He's not letting Nat go with him. She's got to stay and protect all of the other special powered people here. And I'm like, that's fine. The suit looks good too. Like, it's just a little lady suit that's a version of Steel, but looks good. Like, it looks interesting. It's working for me. I don't hate it. They got interesting looks going on. That's kind of cool. So, in the actual, like, void of nothingness as the worlds are colliding, it's a really nice visual effect. Like, they actually just had the right camera like, I think that the lenses they were using were just the perfect scope. The colors they were using were just perfect. It looks really interesting to see that side of things. And it looks like John Henry's gonna get his ass kicked again. I have no doubt that he will be returning in some capacity. Why wouldn't he? When he gets punched over by Allie and just gets tossed around, we lose connection to him, and Allie needs to find her father again. Putting this girl through hell. I hope it's worth it. I think it is. It's just like a really interesting story to play up there. Speaking of interesting stories to play up, well, folks, we have finally done it. If this was 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, we would have strung this story along for 1,000,000 seasons and have a complete dramatic episode about it. But no, we're not going to do that. This is modern day CW. We don't have the time, the budget, or resources to string this out forever. Sarah finds out about Jordan because, look, Lana's doppelganger is going to attack her mama. She's with her mama. Jordan's like, go, the red laser eyes, fights her mama. Beautiful looking scene. Jordan really stepping up in this episode and protecting everybody. Thumbs up to that. That's really cool stuff to see. And I just love Sarah's reaction is just, nope, this makes sense. She doesn't freak out about the powers because you live in a world of Superman. Of course it's going to make sense other people in your life have powers. Nothing wrong about that. She doesn't even freak out that the worlds are colliding. She's just like, okay, now everything that's been happening with Jordan and me makes sense. If I only known about this, maybe I wouldn't have broken up with him. We could have figured out the truth he was trying to tell for me. But Lana's like, this is a big secret, and I don't think you're taking this very seriously. It's interesting. I really dug it. I just love the naturalistic response where she's like, yeah, okay. And it just clicks for her because it's like, yes, it would. It would click for any young person the moment you see this person who has been obsessed with you, who you've loved, finally admit that truth to you. You're like, okay, now I understand why everything weird has been happening to us, everything going on. It would make sense. I think she handled it perfectly, rationally, and reasonably. Makes sense. Like, that was exactly how that character should respond to that, and she did that perfectly. So I really did dig that. But as they have that big revelation, we also see that, the worlds are merging. And as the worlds are merging, we get a really interesting little detail that Kyle isn't there. Methinks in the other world, Tallaro might have killed Kyle. Interesting. But Sarah does merge, kind of, I guess we could say she merges, because we don't really see what happens to her, so Sarah's still presumably there. So Sophie. Why is Sophie there? Interesting use of Sophie in this episode. She actually talks to both parents. And not Sniper Wolf. Like, it's just so weird, but cool. The world's emerging. Who knows what's going to happen? Clark doesn't vanish, though. Kyle goes, but Clark doesn't, which is kind of interesting because we know he's gone. And it's just getting to be an interesting story and definitely ramping up to this finale. I really liked what this episode did. It had great moments for Superman and Lois where, look, Lois actually has the truth in her hands. Is she going to hide the truth from the public or reveal it for the best interest of the world? Clark realizes, hey, you got to pat yourself on the back and take a break. You can still do good, but you're not going to save the world in a day. They both learn great lessons in their respective fields, which I enjoy. Jordan and Sarah get their much needed, just understanding. Not even understanding, but it's just okay, now it makes sense. Lana's getting some stuff to do. Everything is just working perfectly now. We're firing on all cylinders. We're getting to this ending. And it's kind of interesting that the ending's actually going to be in this mixed up world where everything's topsy-turvy and connected. I wonder what that means. How are we going to defeat Allie? To me, it feels like we're building up to that weird power Superman had for a minute where he can charge up all his solar energy and do one big burst and then he's down for a count. I feel we're building to that. Or honestly, I think we're doing Electric Blue Superman at some point. It does feel like we're headed that way strangely. I don't know why, I just get that sense. And I still think we're going to do some Reign of the Superman stuff. We kind of did here because we see that Jor-El gets kicked in the ass. Just gets his ass handed to him by Natalie, and it looked really good. And her and Jordan teaming up to beat him up was really fun to see. It's all kind of cool. It's all coming together in a beautiful story, and I think this episode really sold what that story could be. If this sticks the landing, it might be on par with last season. I don't know if it's going to be better, but it could be on par. It's just a very solid season, and this episode, one of the better ones they've had so far. I really liked what it did. I think it finished strong. So that's going to do it for this review of Superman and Lois. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.